Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sticks and Glue episode 3. We're glad to have you here. Thanks for sticking around. Anybody who's checked out the show, I appreciate it. I hope you get something out of it. I know that I do. It feels good to do things, even if they're little things. I don't know, just put something out there is kind of nice, and I appreciate those of you who have reached out and said that you're enjoying the show so far. I did a little more work without you. So as far as the bridge goes, I now have 2 decks for the drawbridge, as well as a few of the side rails that are going to go on that bridge. This was a lot of work and a lot of little small cuts. You can see the extra glue hanging off of these. I have to kind of clean all that up before I glue everything together, but I have not done that yet. So I might do a little work on this while I'm talking to you today. I was thinking some more about what I kind of want this show to be, and I think it would be good for me to jot down a few things that would be topics that can be kind of conversation starters for these episodes. So I actually have been sort of writing things down on little 3x5 cards, and I'm going to tack them all up and kind of pick one for each episode as something that I can kind of talk about while I'm kind of digressing about whatever and working on the model with you. The one that I actually picked for today was a card that says little things you don't really want to do. And, in my journey to becoming a more or less functional adult, one of the things that has become really apparent to me is that a lot of life is about learning to do little things that you don't really want to do. There are things that we don't really want to do, and then there are things that we really don't want to do, right? And the fortunate thing that I have learned is that if I am able to do the little things that I don't really want to do, then the big things that I really don't want to do get a whole lot easier, and that's good. There are a lot of things I don't really want to do. Frankly, if I'm being honest, I don't ever really want to do anything. I would rather kind of sit and watch TV and read my books. By the way, I'm going to start working on this while we're talking. So I'm going to build the last one of these that I have to build. I'm going to be doing some cutting and some sanding and some shaping, and we'll see how that works with my ability to talk at the same time. So you can see on here, there are little lines. So I'm going to line the stick up, and then I'm going to notch it with this X-Acto knife, and then I'm going to cut it with the swing arm knife, and then I'm going to sand it so that the ends are flush so that I can glue other things to it. I was actually looking at this company and seeing some of the other models they have, and they actually have a Taj Mahal that is like 4 feet by 4 feet. It's gigantic. They have an Eiffel Tower, they have like a log cabin, they have like a Mississippi steamboat. There's lots of cool stuff. But anyway, I digress. This is what we're working on today. So little things I don't really want to do includes pretty much everything. I am, by nature, a pretty lazy person. I have a difficult time making myself do almost anything. For example, I in the past have been so avoidant of taking care of things that, I had an entire box of unopened mail that just traveled with me from house to house that I couldn't face or deal with. I have been turned over to collections by 4 different public libraries. 4. Those fines aren't particularly big, by the way. So I don't know what I was scared of other than shame, maybe the shame of little things and allowing small things to become big things by not dealing with them, which is what can happen. The weight of those things can really bog you down. When you find the courage to do those little things and take care of those little things, though, what you find is generally the consequences are nowhere near what you've built up in your mind. And it feels really good to move on because the weight of the thing on your psyche is so much heavier than the weight of the actual thing. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if that's helpful information for you, because I know that a million little things can build up and you feel like you're going to get crushed by it and you don't know where to start. I have heard people say that, instead of looking at the totality of the thing that you're trying to accomplish, break it down into its component tasks and write those component tasks down on paper and let the paper carry that weight for you. Then you can just look at the little individual component parts of it, which are a little less overwhelming. I guess that building a wooden matchstick bridge model is a pretty good metaphor for that, I would imagine. I don't often think about the totality of the bridge as much as I think about having to make the piece that I'm making. Also, crossing stuff off a list feels good. I often encourage people to make the to-do list, but also include on the to-do list things that you were going to do today anyway, that you would never actually put on a to-do list because you take it for granted that this is a thing you're going to do. Eat lunch. That's on the list. If there was somebody that you're going to talk to on the phone, add that to the list. Breakfast, making your bed, whatever the normal things that you do, take a shower, brush your teeth, add those things to the list, because those are things that you are doing. Those are things that you are accomplishing. And if that gets the ball rolling, then that's good too. I've even done this with television shows or movies that I want to see. Make a paper list. That way, when you are wasting time binge watching something on Netflix, you can actually cross it off a physical list that you've made, and all of a sudden you've accomplished something. I'm not trying to say that you need to trick your brain into feeling like you've accomplished something when you haven't. What I'm saying is you do a lot of stuff that is actually doing something, even though you may think that you're not. And sometimes at the end of the day, if it's a relatively uneventful day, sometimes me being able to point to a thing that I didn't really want to do that I did anyway is the one nail that I've pounded into the wall for the day that I can hang my hat on and feel like I've accomplished something. It's the one thing that makes me feel like I can look myself in the mirror and that I'm a different person than I used to be. Whether it's answering the phone when somebody calls and I don't really feel like being around people and I feel like isolating, whether it's like going to a meeting that I didn't really feel like going to, whether it is sending a text to somebody who crossed my mind and just letting them know that I'm thinking about them. Add stuff to your list, like reach out to a friend. But yeah, learning to deal with the little stuff has been, frankly, life-changing. Because, like we talked about in the last one, a ton of feathers can pull you under just as quick as a 1-ton boulder. It's the same weight. You just got to learn to deal with each of those individual feathers. I have not been reported to collections by a public library in at least 10 years, and that is not nothing for me. In fact, when I was in the process of of doing some amends in recovery, I drove to Nashville from Florida and purchased 2 books that I had checked out from the public library there and lost. So I was able to walk into that library, give them these 2 Louis L'Amour Western novels that I had checked out for some reason and lost. And I was able to make that right. And now I never have to think about that again. And that's pretty cool. That person looked at me like I was a crazy person because I had to explain to them what I was doing and why. And they were like, well, do you want a new library card? And I was like, oh, I don't live here anymore. I drove 600 miles for this. It wasn't the only thing I drove there for. There were some other things that I had to take care of too. But, you know, little things that you don't really want to do. I guess that's my thing for today. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I'm glad to have you here. I hope that, these little 10, 15 minute videos are a nice little timeout for you during the day, give you something to think about. It keeps me going, working on this project a little bit every day so that I can show you what I've been doing. Hey, 3 sticks this time. A little bit at a time. Anyway, thanks for stopping in. I'll talk to you in a couple of days. Have a good one.